The car rig allows you to rig a car that is following a path. I've got a car model, a car asset from standard Modo content here, but I prepared it a little bit. I split it into a few parts. All wheels are separate objects, and I prepared them in such a way that their centers or pivots are at the center of the wheel, and I did that using the edit center to bounding box center command. So each wheel is separate, and then body is separate, and the doors are separate. Let's bring the car rig then into the scene. And before we start fitting, I will hide the meshes for a second, and I would like to discuss two options that this rig has. First, the rig properties are not on this. Eventually, they should be on this rig root item level, but right now you have to unfold modules and pick the body module, and the properties are here. So the two properties I want to discuss are the front axle, which simply toggles the front axle on off, and then the rear axles, which allows you to set the number of pairs of rear wheels for the car. We will obviously, for the particular asset I'm going to try here, we're gonna need just one rear axle. Okay, so I'm going to unhide the meshes and switch to the fitting context to fit the car. I will do this in the in the left view actually, and this is because the guide is prepared in such a way that you actually need to you should fit the wheels on the right side. So that's why I'm gonna use the left view, which is counterintuitive, but this is what we need. And I will set the drop action to match position, and all I have to do is simply drag and drop my wheel guide onto the actual wheel, and we'll do the same for the other one. And I could do this precisely because I had the center set on the wheel mesh properly. Now I will fit the body, which really is about getting the floor level right, and then fitting these dimensions to be slightly bigger than the car. So these dimensions are not really that crucial. They are mainly for the rig to know where to place the extra controllers that will be above the car, and also how to size the main controller that will be around the car. So once I do this fitting, I can apply the guide, and I can go here, and I can see that my rig is fitting. So before we go further, you can see that I haven't attached I don't have the controllers for the door. So for this one, I will actually add another module, and this will be the rigid joint. I will add the rigid joint and simply connect it to the car rig in order to have a controller for rotating the door. So just drag and drop the rigid joint into the scene. I will name it door right away. We'll change its side to right. And now I can go into my fitting context and place this where the hinge for the door is going to be. I will do this again. I will rig on the right side. Let's say something like this. I also need, because as you can see, there's a little arrow pointing forward, so I actually want it to point backwards. So in the top view, I will just rotate it minus 180 degrees. And that's pretty much it. So I can apply this guide, go into my assembly context, and now I have my rigid joint for the door, but I have to connect it to the body. So here's just one socket allowing me to connect my rigid joint to the body. Oh, sorry. So here's my mistake. I actually didn't set the drop action to none, so the match position was still enabled, and it was actually what was performed. So be sure to reset your drop action to none before doing any further drag and drop actions. So again, drag and drop, and that should be it. Now I can mirror this right door with symmetry, and that should be all the modules that I need, the extra modules that I need for this particular car rig to work. Okay, so I'm going to the meshes context and then rigid subcontext, and here I'm going to parent or attach all the pieces of the car into relevant bind joints. So I'll start with the body. This is the body, the main body bind locator. So this is the one to attach the body to. The other one, this one here, is the path bind locator, which means that you can attach any meshes that you want to follow the path, but not the body. So it's like an extra attachment point, but we need this one, the main body one. So drag and drop body onto this one. Then I will drag and drop all the wheels onto relevant bind locators. So right side wheels, left side wheels, and then we have a doors as well. So right door on the right door rigid joint, and the same for the left one. And that's pretty much it. Now I can go to my assembly context again and into the rig management sub context, just to get a little bit my controllers down because they are quite big. So I will select both of these, resize controllers drawing, make them a bit smaller, and now I can go to animate. I can hide this and I can test. So first, this little handle here allows me to move the car. So actually let me show bind skeleton joints just to see if the wheels are really turning, and you can see they are. And then I have my main body controller that allows me to animate the entire body. So I can slightly move and rotate whatever I need. And then we have our door controllers as well, as you can see. So what I did here is actually mixed the car rig with some extra modules on top of it. And then we have this controller here, which is a panel, and it opens a few more sliders. So we're gonna take a look at these in a second. Now let's take a look at the path. So the car is, like I said, car is following a path. There is a path that is included and by default in the rig, which is just a straight line. So not really very interesting. And if you want to edit this, you simply need to, so there are two extra commands for managing the path the car will follow. So the first one is the select path mesh button. So if I click this, my path mesh is getting selected. So I can select the polygon, and then I can go into the modeling tab, and I can start editing the points if I need. As you can see, here's my point, so I can grab the point and move it to shape the path. Or there's also an option if I have the path on some other mesh, like here I've got my path source, it's a different path. I can quickly, by selecting this path that I want to set for the car, and then again selecting the car body module root and going to rig module tab, I can use set path from selected mesh, and that will set this path as a new path for the car to follow. So now if I grab my handle, you can see that the car is going along this path. So let's do some little animation. First I'm going to, so the offset is the same as moving the handle, is actually changing the offset here. So I can keyframe it at the frame 0, and let's say at frame 100, I will move it forward to, let's say something like 67%. Yeah, let's say something like this. So now I have my animation keyframed, and the first thing you will notice is that you've got the speed meter at the top, so it's gonna tell you how fast the car goes. Right now it's in kilometers per hour, so you can see the car goes around 60. And then the other thing you will notice is the car is actually banking automatically as well. So as it takes the turn, you can see it's banked a little bit, and then it goes again, and then banks to the other side. So this is the auto banking behavior. I can disable it by moving the slider down. And then I have my auto banking strength. So it basically means how much it's gonna bank, how easy it's going to be banking when taking the turn. So the banking, automatic banking, it works off the car speed and the path curvature. So those two factors are taken into account when calculating the banking. And then the last parameter is the maximum auto banking angle, which is allows you to cap the banking at the given value, so you can be sure that the car is never going to bank too much. Yeah, this is basically, it allows you to avoid the situations where the car on a given turn is just gonna go too far. So you set the maximum angle allowed, and the car will never go beyond this. And the last setting here, which is the front wheel's path offset, is it tells how far the sort of the wheels will be kind of looking forward to make the turn. So in this case, you can kind of make the wheels sort of lead the turn a little bit more if you increase this offset. And yes, I think that's pretty much it. So if I get my ground, you can see that the car, right now I'm actually keyframing it. Yes, so that's pretty much it. For that covers the car rig in ACS3.